Hello. Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township Public Meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. This meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the Township's YouTube channel. Please continue to check the Township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the Township's website. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
Okay, welcome to the Monday, March 4th, 2024 meeting of the East Lampeter Township Board of Supervisors. My name is Corey Meyer and I'm the chair, and all four supervisors are here in person. We'll continue with a pledge of the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
There are an agenda and a sign-in sheet at the back of the room. Or if you haven't signed it, please do by the end of the meeting. Number 3 on the agenda, public comment for non-agenda items only. Anyone here for public comment? Okay, any online? Okay, we'll move on. Numerous items for the consent agenda, and I'll try to read it as best I can. Okay, 4A, we have approval of the March 4th, 2024 Board of Supervisors meeting agenda. We do have a few changes to the agenda. Items number 6 and 7, they will be on the next agenda, the March 18th, 2024 meeting. Other than that, the rest of the agenda is the same. We have 4B, approval of the minutes of the Monday, February 12th, 2024 regular meeting. We have 4C, financial security release, LMH Stormwater Management Plan, 2176 Lincoln Highway East. Township engineers provide a letter recommending the full release of the financial security, and township staff requests that this release is conditioned upon the applicant paying all outstanding escrow fees. So we'll make the motion for that item. That includes that. I can say that as well. For 4D, financial security for reduction request, Mr. Car Wash, 2175 Lincoln Highway East. Township engineers provide a letter recommending a reduction in the amount of financial security held for required improvements related to this development. The amount of recommended reduction is $811,937.95, leaving a remaining balance of $23,505 for remaining required improvements. We have 4E, financial security reduction request for 419 Mount City Road. Township engineers provide a letter recommending reduction. The amount of financial security held for required improvements related to this development. The amount of the recommended reduction is $2,049.03, leaving a remaining balance of $4,653 for remaining required improvements. We have 4F, financial security reduction request, LMH Land Development Plan, 2176 Lincoln Highway East. Township engineer has a letter, and in the letter, recommended reduction is $74,248.40, leaving a remaining balance of $70,830.32 for remaining required improvements. And we have G, time extension request for recording conditionally approved land development plan 2214 Paradise Energy Solutions, 2985 Lincoln Highway East. Applicant requested to have until September 15th, 2024 to satisfy all approval conditions and record this plan. However, we do have a board meeting on Monday, September 16th, 2024. So staff suggests that we give them an extra day to September 16th. And that is the second time extension for this application. And we have 4H, time extension for Plan 23-5, Gish Furniture, 2217 Lincoln Highway East. Applicants requesting to have it until June 25th, 2024 to satisfy all approval conditions and record this plan. This is also a second time extension for this application. And we would have to take board action at the June 17th, 2024 meeting unless they need more time before that time. And finally, approval to pay invoices from all funds. We have a total of $411,410.01. Of the bill to be paid, the following significant amounts are included: $18,711.15 Eastern Salt for rock salt, $17,776 to Lancaster County District Attorney for the 2024 Drug Task Force contribution, which is $1 per capita, $15,332.23 to Hand in Hand Fire Company for 2023 fuel and insurance reimbursements. That is your consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through I.
Okay.
Second.
And motion made by Ted, second by Roger. Yep. Any other comment from the board or the public?
And that's as stated.
Yeah, as stated, as those items I said. Yep. Okay. Any public comment? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you. You good? Good. Well, you're up. Chief Keenes, number 5, Lafayette Fire Company, 3 annual reports. Yeah, I know. Let me get on before you say your name.
That's again, yes, Lee.
Okay. You want to go fast, or do you want to?
No, taken care of.
Okay.
So I'm good.
Brett's in charge today.
This is our meeting night, so there's plenty.
Sounds
So we're good. I think from your comment earlier, to preview some of the report. So, great, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to present the 2022 report. This will be my 7th year of reporting out. Really my 7th year as a fire chief, but I was a fire chief back in 2013 also. So 8 years as a fire chief, 7th year as reporting out in a row for you guys. Ed, I remember you from being a member of Thank you. In East Lampeter Township, you won't see everything I'm going to talk about in your book. But in East Lampeter Township in 2023, there were roughly 1,100 calls to be serviced. Out of those 1,100, Lafayette had about 40% of those. Whitmer had about 30%, and Ferdinand and split the remaining 30%, so about 15% each for those two. So Lafayette, Whitmer, we pretty much handle the brunt of the emergency service calls. I like to liken it to the 896 as being the parallel. Everything happens east of the parallel, and you can confirm that with Chief Zerby also.
Everything happens west. Everything happens
Right west.
not in check.
Thank you for correcting me. Yes, west. When we talk about Lafayette, basically we're a metro company. So what I mean by a metro company is you look at Lancaster City, is what are the companies that surround Lancaster City? That makes us a metro company. So what's it look like when infrastructure changes when you're driving from the city out through East Lampeter Township? Hey, nothing really changes until you get out to 896. Pretty much, it's the same view, whether you're going out Route 30 east or west, as you're going down, I still call it the strip, but we're going to call it the gateway soon. So, yes, so as we go down through there, the infrastructure really doesn't change. For Lancaster County as a whole, Lafayette, we're the 7th busiest fire company. So there's only 2 paid companies in Lancaster County, and that's Lancaster City and Manheim Township. So if we discount those, Lafayette's the 7th busiest as far. So there's a lot of activity that goes on in East Lamphere Township. Our ladder truck is the 5th busiest in the county. And our squad, which we send to just about every call that we can, is basically our public service people. Whether it's a fire, a crash, or a water incident, our squad goes on that. So the squad handles the brunt of the incidents that are non-life-threatening, like stuck elevators and, like I said, pump details, lockouts, medical assists. We send a squad for those. So when we look at the contents page, we're going to skip over that, and we're going to go to the mission and value statement. And our mission and value statement, that drives everything that we do. I always like to use the phrase, we keep the main thing, which is the safety and protection and the welfare of the people. So we do that through the preservation of life, property, and the environment. Take care of all 3 of those. We're going to move on to the executive summary. That's everything that we do in both Lancaster Township and East Lamphere Township. So the breakdown, total incidents for 2023 was 584. And that's a 6.2% decrease from 2022, because we had 619 incidents in 2022. So we saw a decrease in overall fire responses there, whether fire prevention is working or not, or whether there were just less automatic alarms or less vehicle accidents. That's not the case. There was more vehicle accidents, actually. So it's kind of ebbs and flows. 452 of the 584 responses were in East Lamphere Township. That's a 7% decrease from 2022. Lancaster Township, 73 responses, which is a 2% increase. Automatic fire alarms in East Lamphere Township, we had a notable 40% decrease. Now, why is that? I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to thank the township staff for taking some action on at least 1 or 2 businesses to reduce the number of automatic.
Are you going to get to that list that I saw of the automatic alarms? There are a lot in Upper Laycock, and
I don't have a list of automatic alarms in this report.
What? Where did I see it? That is the police report. Yeah,
it's okay.
No, all good. Yeah, Upper Laycock doesn't make sense, but okay.
That's a significant decrease. I mean,
It is.
do you attribute it to anything that you as a fire company have done?
I know, other than bringing it to the attention of the township staff, which requires some intervention, at least 1 or 2 of the individual.
And that could be just a small number of places that have had less, only because of what I've heard before is small number responsible for a lot. So if you could do something on those, you're making a big difference. Yeah, great job.
Yeah, I can tell you that at least one of those businesses had 37 alarms in the first 3 months of 2022. That was taken care of.
Good, good.
It's a risk every time you have to go out. It's a risk, you know.
Big apparatus that has to drive down Lincoln Highway.
Combined property losses were 218,000. That's less than prior. Combined property saved was about 19.5 million. $19.6 million that were saved. East Lamphere Township property loss was $133,000, and property saved was $19,296,000. Some of the larger buildings that have small fires are a big contributor to that. Lancaster Township, the property loss, and this could be anything from a vehicle fire to a building fire, dumpster fire. You know, if it's close to a building, you still count that as property saved. Says it didn't. Because of it being an exposure. Property saved in Lancaster Township was $320,000, and mutual aid times we provided outside the township were 59 times, and that fluctuates year over year. I mean, we provide mutual aid and we receive mutual aid. Total training hours, 3,215. That's company level and certificate. I did have a breakdown of that in here. If we could move forward to the preparing for action tab. Our busiest time frame, by the way, if we look at the Lafayette first due, is in the daytime. So out of the 584 calls, 381 of those are during the daytime. That's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's when our staffing is actually the lowest also because of people working. Moving to the preparing for action. Certificate training, 3,215 hours, and we took the certificate training, that was 1,767 hours. That's when somebody's physically going to a 40-hour class or a 48-hour course on the weekend or on weekdays. Some of those take several weeks to complete. Like if you go through the fire academy, basic fire academy, that's 220 hours right there. And the way they do the fire academy now is start to stop. They used to break it up into 4 segments. They called them modules, and you would take the different modules. So if you weren't available for module 2, you could go get it next year. You could pick up module 2. It's not that way anymore. Now, due to the lack of instructors, start and stop. So when an individual signs up for the fire academy, he's committed for 4 months of training, at least 2 to 3 days a week. He receives all 220 hours out of it. Certificate training, I just want to talk about that for a little. A lot of the guys, they pride themselves on some special skills training, whether it be rope rescue, vehicle extrication. We're actually conducting an elevator rescue class right now. So that's two evenings, and it'll be this coming Saturday. We'll actually be going out and doing the practical skills where we'll be operating elevators and performing rescues and controlling elevators. Truck company operations, there's truck 1 and truck 2. We have both of those classes, skills classes coming up. We haven't had those for a few years. I personally took it back in 2005, so it would be a good refresher for me. That's 20 years ago that I took those. When we talk about incident command training, I mean, all those incident command, they're usually 24-hour classes. And then we have the fire officer classes, fire officer 1 through 4. That's like college level work there. You're submitting your paperwork to Battalion Chiefs of Philadelphia for grading, and then they send it back to the Bucks Academy for the final score, and then it goes to the State Fire Academy for a review also. So it's quite a process. And then if you make a mistake or they don't think you did a good enough job, then that whole circle starts over again. So it can take some time to get through the fire officer 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are normally 48-hour classes for each one of those. Me personally, I stopped at fire officer 3. So, like I said, these college level work course assignments for those. The state of the company, I'm not going to read that verbatim. I mean, you have that the financial where we're at on the building. We still have $700,000 on our building. We get ready to make another payment here, probably mid-year this year. I'm going to say the June time frame. We talk about fundraising. We have our chicken barbecues coming up here. That's our annual chicken barbecue. Will be the second week of April. We plan on doing 1,200 chickens. We have pre-sales out for that. We'll make some money off of that, but nowadays when we talk about buying fire equipment and apparatus, I mean, it's really doesn't go that far. But it's a help. Let's put it that way. We have the state cook-off in June. We do make out just about the same as we do in the chicken barbecue. Our biggest is the fund drive mailer returns, where we send out just about 5,000 notices for support. And this year, I think we got 300. Yeah, we're usually about 320, 340. That's usually what we get about in donations. So that just brings me to another point. I know that the ESC is going to sustain the volunteer fire service going forward. And, that's one of the items for discussion there is how do we support not only the but, just the volunteers too. Get back to the building. Like I said, we're going to make a payment mid-year this year. We're paying that thing off. I see nothing that would prevent us from doing so. Ladder truck planning, ladder truck, we're estimating $2 million. Honestly, it's probably gonna be 1.8, in that neighborhood. So that's a huge difference from the 900,000 that we paid 20 years ago. But then again, seeing prices going up on everything, just like you are. When we talk about volunteerism, yeah, it's no different than the business down the street trying to hire the worker, and they have trouble hiring people and paying them, let alone getting people to volunteer for something that's dangerous. Let's put it that way. And everybody struggles. It's nothing new. Everybody's struggling for hired help, and everybody's struggling for volunteers. Doesn't matter if you're the United Way, Red Cross, or whether you're the fire department. We have people come and we have some leave. It's a give take type thing, but we're always on the lookout, trying to find people. We go to the call, 5-year history. 5-year history, we did about 574. It's like to tell people we run about 550, but it's creeping up over time here. So 574 is the average. Busiest days of the week are Mondays and Fridays. And busiest time of the day is 5 to 6 p.m. That said, it's also notable that across the United States, that's the highest rate for fires is during the hour people are cooking dinner, 5 to 6 o'clock. That's across the United States. So it would make sense that that's also the highest rate. Responders per call. How many responders do we have? It's no change from the previous years. We average about 9 responders per call. Actually, the data showed like 9.5, but how can you have a half a person? So I stuck with the 9. It's up in there. It's like a pickup baseball team. You know, the pager goes off. In the daytime, we're going to get less people than you do at all. In the daytime, sometimes we have 4, sometimes we have 9. It just depends. But the work, most people that they work in the daytime. So,
Chief, are you still working full time? Oh, you retired?
a little over a year ago.
Is that right? Wow, good for you.
Yeah, living the dream.
There you go.
But I am working part-time.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I work part-time at the Lancaster County Public Safety Training Center.
Awesome. Great.
I'm a facilitator there,
Cool.
and that keeps me most busy in the springtime.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
Good.
Community, go on to community 2023. We're at 22 events. You really have to think about that as a whole year. The 56 weeks in a year, how many of those weekends are nuts, right? Cold weather. So 22 events, it's down from prior. 49 was the 2022 number, and a lot of our guys we don't need to stop supporting that many events. Then had 1 or 2 people trying to handle the event, where it really took more like 10 to 12. So we said we're going to cut back on events, and yeah, there's differences in the events too. If you go to an all-day event versus going to a 2-hour, church event, so the 2-hour one is here to get people for it. Sometimes we go and shift work, but it's good community relations. Trying to keep our name out there, what we do, what we're here for, and trying to onboard people. We always carry a stack of applications with us, and we're always trying to promote the fire company for more members. We're always on the lookout for recruits. So the data in the book, I mean, there's an East Lampeter Township breakdown, there's Lancaster Township breakdown, and then there's also a page in there that has some web links in there as far as trying to help get our voice out, who we are, what we're all about. There was a YouTube thing that was done by Heroes Next Door. There are 2 videos on there, so the links are on that page also. It tells you about some of those pages. I mean, they got 120,000 hits. You would think we would get 120,000 members, but YouTube videos are around. So yeah, we're always open to recruitment. We're always trying to improve.
Yeah. And you just don't need firefighter recruits, right? You need administrative recruits as
Absolutely.
well. Volunteers that can help with the chicken barbecue and all the other events you guys do?
We have onboarded some volunteers here recently, actually 3 of them, that all they want to do is help us out. We're going to start a capital campaign for the ladder truck. And yeah, that's all they want to do is help us out with the capital campaign. You know,
And your youngest volunteer?
youngest volunteer, they're probably 14.
Yeah. Lives in
We actually have 3 of them, 14 years of age.
Yeah, that's great.
And will they stay? I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Because some people join up and they find out that 3 months later that this isn't me, and we lose them. But yeah, just trying. So it's,
Thank you for your service. Thanks for this report. Come out every year and give us some great data. And it's a lot of work to put this together and to keep this information in a way that we can all understand. So really appreciate it, and appreciate the volunteers that going out, not knowing what they're going into, you know, most times, and really appreciate all the work you guys do.
thank you.
Questions for Chief? Anything we can do for you while you're here?
Just continue to support.
We will.
And yeah, I mean, shiny fire trucks and a nice building doesn't do it. We do need people to make that everything happen. So it all does come back to the people. And you know, I know there's a difference between the east and the west ends of the township on the volunteer side, and to recognize that that's just different society on Gen 2.
Yeah. Understood.
Chief, are you able to measure any of the volunteer efforts that you've taken? In other words, I see multiple measures you guys are using. You know, people have commented about your yard signs for volunteers, you know, strategically placed in certain locations and so forth. Do you ever ask when you get your new people coming in or inquiring, hey, how'd you know about us or anything like
That's
that?
the first question. How
Yeah.
you find out about us?
Yeah.
What makes you want to volunteer?
Mhm.
We have a document with lists. I don't want to call it job tasks. It's not for what's involved for each of the membership categories that we offer. So we offer a duty crew program, we offer a junior firefighter program, a regular firefighter program. We have an administrative role, and what the requirements are in each one of those roles, and how can you help us? That's the questions that we ask. Yes. Try not to make it too difficult, but you know, the times are changing, insurance requirements and that kind of thing. I have a guy who was he was a member, and he left in good standing 4 years ago, and he's come back to us. He moved to West Virginia, and part of the requirements for moving out of the state is you need an FBI background clearance where they fingerprint you, and he wasn't taking too kindly to that. And I'm sorry, but those are the requirements that are put forth to us now. Some of the other requirements, ISO is coming out, Insurance Services Organization. That's where your fire insurance for your home is based on that. The ISO is coming out with new requirements, and I sat through a seminar, webinar, I should say, on the new requirements that are coming out. We meet about half of those requirements now, and the future of ISO requirements, it's all geared towards the paid. You can do 2 hours of training per day, that kind of thing. We're not out doing building inspections. Okay. So with some of the new ISO requirements, you know how that'll affect volunteers, how it'll affect everyone's insurance rating. I can't answer that. That's a nationally driven thing. By the ISO. So we just have to do our best to comply. So it never gets any easier.
No, the bar keeps rising, right? Yes. Yeah. Great.
Well, thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Appreciate it. Please thank the team. Thanks. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have 9A sketch plan for redevelopment in property 31 Lincoln Highway East. Someone here for that item. Okay. We sketch plan, but it was officially submitted as a sketch plan, so we do have to make some sort of action on.
The next meeting.
Yeah. I can check on that. Pause.
You wanted to move that to the end of.
That sounds great. We'll do that. Meeting time, B, supervisor discussion items. We have two of note. We have public comment meeting rules and township website. That just sounds like you put some thoughts together on public comment meeting room.
We changed the draft that we had regulated and then to modify. Looked like we're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I had no additional comments on it. I'd love to hear other comments. I thought this was clear and well documented. Ethan, do you have?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys, putting this together and, yeah, it looks very good to me. There's some minor edits in there, but, well, they're all good and make for some consistency throughout the piece, so.
We have not sent this to the solicitor yet, so we want to get some feedback before we did that. But if you feel like it's in a state that would be a logical next step, and we can, hopefully get a response by your next meeting, and it may be ready for you to consider action.
I think we're on the right track there.
Yeah, just, I mean, we have a few minor things like extra space, and board of supervisors and the second, like minor stuff. Do you want to hear that now, or we give it, one, two, second page, three, one, two, three. So right here, there's just a extra comment space after board of supervisors in the last sentence. You see that? Follow me on that one? Yeah. And then the last paragraph on second page, board of supervisors. It's second sentence. Matters probably for the board. Yeah. Those are the only two I found. Any other?
The only other one which would probably be for the supervisor, I mean, the solicitor review as well is, do we want to allow as a normal position, be who's not a resident of the taxpayer, but representing an organization located in the township?
Or like connected to a taxpayer?
It would be, someone speaking like they could be a nonprofit organization.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Or
Yeah.
board member of the county library. It's currently allowed as the chair can allow any non-resident, non-taxpayer. But so I've seen it two different ways. Some townships will have, it's a straight up resident taxpayer are by right allowed to give public comment. And some also allow someone representing an organization in the township sort of by right. The solicitor maybe give an opinion on.
An organization based in the township.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does business. I mean, library doesn't actually do business in the township as an example, right? But they do interact.
They're designated for fundraising.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're designated by, but I'm also thinking of, the United Way as a program. There's plenty of nonprofits that operate, or people employed at a local business, like a general manager shows up. They're not directly paying taxes, but they may want to speak on an issue that's going to affect their business.
Yeah, I'd be fine for being paid to run it. I'd be fine giving you that by right to do that. That'd be my.
Yeah, we can certainly try to clarify that. I don't think anybody who's representing a business located is the same as a resident. But we can try to clarify that.
I've seen it in some townships, they lock it down so that if there's an advocacy group that's maybe doing advocacy in the whole county. It's a way to bar them from speaking to like a land development piece. I've seen it happen that way, and then it's those organizations try to find someone who has standing in the township to speak on their behalf. I've been that person, so I know how we got around it.
But then before we move on, there is another bolded section on this one. That's what I do this.
I think that was a holdover from Ethan.
Blame it on the paste. Blame it on the. I just have that piece of it. That's my copy of this holder from Eastern.
Blame these templates. Okay, all good. Any other good comments? Any other comments about this item? Okay, that's been used for, okay, great. Okay, let's move on to supervisor discussion items, conflict goes. I have one to give a little context, yeah.
Yeah, this was mentioned at the last as an item that the board should look at. And we thought, any suggestions, comments that board members have, we try to make a list and keep track of those and then, provide feedback, response, answers as soon as we can.
So is that, those comments coming to Tara and yourself?
Sure. Yeah.
Or does it have to be?
It doesn't have to be public.
We can share them now. I mean, I've got a long
Yes.
list, but
Ethan has, why don't you just share a little, if you guys have a few to share, but I think perfectly fine to send an email, with, items to touch with Tara.
I also know how to people can click on the link, but this is. Here's my process for what I did. I think that's. I have an extra one for staff if they want. Basically, what I did was I wrote down some high level objectives. Or up top, which is there's some errors that we could fix. And then I looked at some neighboring townships. I picked two. Penn Township, which is smaller than us, and East Hempfield, which is similar size to us. I picked Penn Township because their website's made by the same people that made our website. So our web developers should be able to. The goals were make it easier for residents to contact us, and then also can we add additional functionality over time. So those are my objectives. Then I went on Penn Township site. I just went through and said, what are things that they're doing well? So they have search, visible, they have email sign up, they have detailed contact us form where you select why you're contacting. They combine their minutes and agendas on a single page. They use E-code. So I know we're in the process of getting E-code, but they use it. It's very prominent the way they use it. That East Hempfield Township, they also have search in their top level nav. Top level nav is the top of your website. They've got their email community alert sign up. They have more social media presence. So they have icons and links. They use Facebook, YouTube, and Nextdoor. Their Facebook page allows comments. They also have agendas and minutes on a single page. They run their FAQs, frequently asked questions, as a separate subsection of the site or a separate plugin with its own built-in search feature. And then they have an interactive zoning map, which is pretty cool. And they use E-code, and then they use breadcrumbs. And I just dropped a copy down there of an image. So breadcrumb is where it says home, and it's got a little greater than sign, government, and then ordinances. So those are called breadcrumbs on a website. They show you where you are. So as you navigate further into a site, it's a way that you can find out how to go up one layer of hierarchy. That's best practice on most websites. So then I have some short-term recommendations, things that I think could be done quickly if I would want to do them. And then I've got longer-term items that would probably require additional research, expense, budget items down the road. But the low-hanging fruit is what I consider these adding search. We have search now, it's on the footer. So you have to scroll down to the bottom to get to the search section. So we could just also add that to the top level navigation. We have sub-menus in our navigation structure, but they're not, you don't know that they're there on desktop. There's a little image that shows up on mobile browsing that indicates that there's a sub-menu.
And that's a feature you can look to turn on in desktop view. Adding breadcrumbs is also pretty, something you can add to a site and it automatically adds to every page. You don't have to manually add it. We could switch to an FAQ plugin. We have an FAQ, it's just one page, so you can scroll up or down the page. But you can make those searchable and indexable. Most of these I just copied from the other site. Add the meeting agendas to the archive page where we have meeting minutes. And then it would, you could also add the link to the specific YouTube meeting video to the archive page. So you have meeting minutes, agenda, and a link to the specific video. Then we could add our links to social media. Our YouTube playlists are currently just that when you log in as the admin, you can change it to sort by newest or oldest. Ours are currently oldest, so if you click on the supervisor meetings, you have to scroll set to the 73rd video to get to the latest one. So it's just a small setting change. What's probably worth discussing is, should we allow Facebook comments? Adding an elite email alert sign up. The other townships that have that, it just sends out an automatic email alert, either when you staff would tell it to, or when you add new content to the website. When we do E-code, putting that front and center, adding a contact form. And then currently we have a zoning GIS map. We have 2 links to it on the website, one from the volunteer fire services page that's correct, one from the FAQ page, which is the current link is dead. We have several pages that are linked to either in the quick menu or just on the home page that are not linked to in the navigation, such as the section on volunteer fire services and applications and forms. We're still using the old property maintenance code form that we put up before we adopted the property maintenance code. And then we still are using the current fee schedule is not up on the website. And the voting location information is a few years old. So those are just the short-term improvements that we can do. And some of those, it could be, do we need to list those voting locations, or do we just link to the county page? Is they're going to update those twice a year? We could just say, to find your voting location, hit votes PA, or which we link to, or hit the county website. Then longer term is require a deeper dive into it. Into how do we take newsletter information, put it up as posts on the website, and actually use that feature, putting alt text for images. So that's if someone is viewing the site who can't see, or they're using a screen reader, it will say, here's what the image text is. So it's just in the code, you're adding an alt text to describe what the image is for a user who's using a screen reader. And then standardizing font style sizes, this is, and colors. We have a hodgepodge of different ones. And then as we go forward, looking at, are there self-service functionality pieces that we could look at? And this is where probably the best example, Lancaster City has a self-service reporting feature. You can download an app. There's a pothole in front of your street lights out. You can just go on the map, put a pin on it. It puts in a ticket, and then you can also see the follow-up in real time. So city staff then says, all right, we're going to fix that when we're coming through next, or we're going to fix that when we repave that road in 18 months. But then it closes it out. Whenever your action is taken on your issue, it notifies you automatically. So those would be additional feature sets that we could look at doing. And there's several pieces of software out there. MyGov, which we currently use, CityWorks, and a few other ones. So those are the longer term items, but those are some of the low-hanging fruit items that I think we could look at.
Any questions, Ethan, from staff or other board members? Thank you for comprehensive list. Roger.
Into e-codes.
You mentioned E-code last meeting.
Right, we did get a response from them that we would be seeing the next draft with everything added in the near future.
So assume in the next 2 months, maybe we'll see another draft. We're hoping in 2024.
It will be,
Okay,
we'll keep pushing.
okay, yes. Good, thank you again, Ethan, for, I went through and saw a few of these things, but clearly did not take the time to do this level of effort. Appreciate that. Other comments from board?
No, I appreciate that work, Ethan. You know, anything that makes the ease of, time and accuracy all good. You know, you have an eye for it. No, I can't say I have an eye for it, just frustration for it if I'm looking for something and I can't find it.
Thank you, Ethan. Also.
Yeah, anything from staff? I'm sorry, any questions or anything?
Not at this point.
Okay, great. You'll share it with the team and so forth. You did ask about Facebook comments. I know staff has looked and I don't know if you've talked to solicitors or just from trade organizations. I know there's concern about Facebook comments. I actually am okay with Facebook comments not being turned on right now because I realize the amount of work. But I also see the value when you can have two-way conversation. Does staff have any input on Facebook comments on, from solicitor trade organizations or others?
Strongly recommend against.
Yeah.
And provide emails for everybody, so there shouldn't be a problem with people trying to contact the right person and get feedback right away.
Currently, our township police has a Facebook page that allows comments.
Yeah.
Township page does not, and our emergency management page does.
Yeah, the emergency management page was not authorized. We'll have to look into the police page.
That's just, it's more of a consistency and then how we do it. But when I look at other townships that sort of have leaned into it, whether it's East Hempfield or Manor, they go that extra step of engaging on comments. Nextdoor.com is another one, which is just an interesting time if you log into it. But I've also seen them engage very well as far as putting out information on Nextdoor that gets out to folks. So it's a way of, you can view it as you go where the people are, or you can say, we want to make the people come and communicate through a specific channel.
I think it would be helpful if you just maybe shared an article or shared some information just about Facebook comments or social media comments, just the feedback from the trade magazines, organizations, PSATs, others, or did I just say PSATs? Yeah, PSATs.
Yeah.
I said Peasers, but close enough. PSATs, just about that topic.
Sure.
Okay. Any other comments? Any other items that you think we need more direction on the staff? Ethan?
Yeah, and then if anyone else has an issue, email staff. And the only other one, which I brought up before, is the way so there's two reasons for some of this. One is make it easier for the public to access information, which then is better for them, but also reduces staff time having to field those calls and questions. So you move to when someone's talking with township staff, it's a high value interaction as opposed to I'm helping you navigate to information on the website. So if we make the information more accessible, then it saves staff time to spend more value add time with a constituent. The other one is it allows people to, if we use the site in a better way, then people can see a better record of what we've done. So currently on the front page, we use that section on the front page to post the latest information. But when there's new information, we just delete what was there and post additional new information. Whereas if we use the post feature, people would see the latest on the front page, but they could go back and see what we did 2 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. Preserving that record of what we've posted, I think, is also important for the public. And not just deleting it.
I think at the PSET conference last year, there was a demonstration of how to use this website. So they did a video on how to use the website. You're saying, so a person was navigating through it, and you might say, they created it. And person who was taught was at the end of one of the sessions, they were saying, and really, what are the most visited ones, so they put those right up front, and how they did it, so.
I don't know if we use Google Analytics or any analytics platform to track which pages are the most popular. I know that's my business. That's what we do, is we track those and then we prioritize where the traffic is to spend our time and energy to update those pages. If it's a low traffic page, we want more traffic, then we look at how we're cross-linking it. If not, we try to combine it with another page.
Yeah, good feedback. We'll move on. Thank you for that. We have 10A, action items, planning commission annual report. Municipal planning code requires the township planning commission prepares an annual report on their activities and present to the board of supervisors. Gentlemen, we have the planning commission report in front of us. Any comments from staff on the planning commission report? Seems like they together a good report with all of the plans they approved. Any other comments from staff?
No. Forward, but if there are questions, we try to address them.
Any questions from board? Okay. Looking for action set yet. So take a motion to accept. Yeah.
Motion to accept the planning commission report.
Motion made by Ethan, second by Mike. Any other public comment for this item? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes. Okay, 10B, resolution regarding escalator clause for price adjustment of bituminous material bid.
So when we put out the bids for paving work, we like to include the escalator clause in that so that the contractors that are bidding on it don't have to guess at what by the time they're actually doing the work. So PennDOT requires that this is done annually, so we can't just do a one and it lasts forever. So we ask you to adopt that. We do have the bidding for this year's paving out on the street. So
We'll see that probably at a future meeting.
yes, the actual bids, yes.
Okay.
Motion to approve the resolution for the escalator clause.
Second.
Motion made by Ethan, second by Ted. Any other public comment? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, C, resolution regarding PennDOT reimbursement agreement for Connect's 2040 LHP study Walnut Street.
Well, I think the C and D at the same time because they're pretty much the same thing. So we got two awards of Connect's 2040 funding, both related to the Lancaster Heritage Pathway. One is for looking at the continuation of the pathway along Walnut Street. The other one is to go down Pitney Road. So there are two agreements that we have to enter into with PennDOT to make that come together, and they require a resolution for each of them. I just will remind the board that we've also been required to join these together in one study effort with one vendor or one consultant, rather than two, which has been a little frustrating, but that's what they're requiring.
Okay. So, first resolution C for Walnut Street.
Motion to accept the resolution regarding PennDOT reimbursement agreement for Connect's 2040 Lancaster Heritage Pathway study for Walnut Street.
Moved by Mike. Second by Ethan. Any public comment? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes for C, and then D.
Motion to approve the resolution regarding PennDOT reimbursement agreement for Connects 2040 Next Energy Pathway. Second.
Okay, motion made by Ethan, second by Ted. Any comment from the public or school? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. E, agreement regarding a pollution reduction project with Munster County Conservation District. Okay, Sarah?
Lancaster County Conservation District and Susie Sutton came to us and said that they wish to do a project together with the township, beginning at the south side of the Flory Park Bridge as you enter from Strasburg Pike, down to the connection to Mill Creek. If the township were through sewer authority were to assist in design and permitting, then all of the funds that were obtained through Exelon grants could be used for construction through LCCD. So it's a great project. We have a great neighbor to work with. It's also benefiting our sewer line right in that area because there's some scouring going on. So it's a wonderful project to work on.
Great public-private partnership. Love it. Cool. Okay, get a motion for E.
Motion to accept the agreement regarding pollution reduction project with the Lancaster County Conservation District.
Second. Okay, motion made by Mike, second by Ethan. Any public comment or board comment? Thanks, Susie, for bringing this forward. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, now we can pull this 11A for pollution reduction plan.
I just want to keep the board up to date on the staff's efforts to get the amended pollution reduction plan approved by DEP. The main holdup at this point is related to the ag projects that were done by I2 Capital, and that whole arrangement with township approval, sewer authority funding. I2 Capital gets the credits, and we purchase their sewer authority purchasing them from I2 Capital. Tara's been more deeply involved in this, so I'll let her fill out the rest of the picture there.
So DEP and I2 Capital, along with township staff, met about 2 months ago. And we were told that we were working towards an adoption of our pollution reduction plan. That said, they also noted that I2 Capital needed to go back and recalculate based on the chapter 102. So the pollution ag E&S plans, nutrient management plans for an agricultural plan. They've now, DEP has now come back and said they want entire copies of the plans, which a landowner does not need to give up. That's their property. That's their implementation plan. It's not the right to give to anyone. And in some cases, there are non-disclosure agreements that create those plans, which has become a problem now because the individuals working with I2 Capital, Team Ag, have not written all of those plans for the farmers involved in this project. So they are now going back to each of the writers, including LCCD, Red Barn, and numerous others that have done these plans for the farmers to get the permission to release them to DEP so that we can count 100,000 pounds of sediment reduction. So it's really one hand not talking to the other at the state level in the same.
Can we leverage our state senators and state representatives?
I think that's exactly the next step. We have one meeting that is coming up on Wednesday. We'll see how that goes. And if that doesn't seem to be headed in the right direction, that's the next step, in my view.
Yeah.
The other part of this, which is frustrating, is that DEP central office has approved this same kind of program in Chester County.
Right.
Same thing.
Right.
So
something changed. Yeah. Okay.
It's driving.
Yeah, understood.
But anyway, I wanted to keep the board,
Yeah.
updated. Housing study presentation is going to be in front of the board. It's up on the website.
Yep.
And, good feedback and ultimately, action to adopt the plan. The other thing I just want to make sure is out there, the city's doing a pipe inventory on their whole water system. So they're asking all their customers to self-report the material that is in their home, if they're connected to the public water system, for their lateral coming into the house. They will offer assistance to anybody who needs assistance to gather that information. And then eventually, once they have all that, they're going to start into a program of replacing any dead service laterals going in.
Is this even for homes that were built since, 2001?
They want everybody to report. So
Okay.
if it's plastic, it's copper, whatever, they want to report it so that they have that. Data.
Forever. Yeah, it says, hey, you can't have
In
plastic.
this house.
Yeah.
So, they're doing all that.
Yeah, I've seen it on their social media and, I've seen other.
It's pretty easy to do. I did it for a rental property.
Yeah,
Take a picture. It's only 3 options. It's either magnet stick to it, some copper, or just
Yeah, I think it is fairly easy, but if people need assistance, they're offering
Yeah,
assistance.
understood. Okay, great. Anything else from staff?
Just this Cocalico Creek item,
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
So hear back from the applicant, and they've asked if you could please move it to the 18th meeting, and we do have time until.
Okay. Great. So I'll accept the motion to table.
motion to table.
Second. Okay, motion table for the sketch plan for redevelopment of roadway and property. Good. Okay, motion made by Ethan, second by Ted. Any other public comment for this item? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is gonna be a long meeting. I'm telling you right now, everyone. Okay, we do have an executive session directly after adjournment of this meeting regarding litigation. And I will accept a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Mike, second by Roger. Any other public comment on adjournment? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.